Another tragic shooting has now happened in another Republican state with some of the most relaxed gun laws we saw, because apparently this is a good idea, as the deadliest shooting on record for 2024 happened at Appalachia High School, as 4 were killed, 2 were students aged 14 and 2 teachers as well as 8 other students and 1 more teacher being hospitalized with their injuries, though they are luckily expected to recover. What we know so far is that it happened relatively early in the morning, and the shooter, who was also a 14-year-old, was eventually taken into custody as he surrendered to the resource officer, and the gun that was used was an AR platform weapon, the exact type of gun that Kamala wants to ban and Trump and Republicans want less restrictions on accessing, which shows which side really cares about the fate of our children, their safety in our schools, and who's just stuck in the pocket of the NRA and unable to walk away from that kind of money that they get from the gun lobby. As Georgia, for instance, has the 46th strongest gun laws, or the 5th weakest. There's only 4 states with less gun laws than they have. They have no background checks, no permits needed, no secure storage laws, which is likely how this child ended up with an AR. High capacity magazines aren't restricted. I mean, the list of, or I guess lack thereof, laws, I should say, go on for days. And it's no surprise that these deadly shootings, the slaughtering of our children, often happen in these exact red states with these relaxed gun laws, or with guns that were purchased in these red states with the relaxed gun laws.
This is just a senseless tragedy on top of so many senseless tragedies. And it's just outrageous that every day in our country, in the United States of America, that parents have to send their children to school worried about whether or not their child will come home alive. It's senseless. It is. We've got to stop it. And we have to end this epidemic of gun violence in our country once and for all. You know, it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way.
Contrast her response here to the Iowa school shooting that happened under Trump, where he literally told families that you'd have to get over it. Republicans have to come out after these shootings and can't give emotional responses like Kamala just did, because they instead have to carry water for the policies that enable it to happen and be ready to launch a defense as to why, hey, I know these guns like killed your kids, but we're not going to ban the guns. If anything, let's do more guns. Let's put guns in schools. Let's do whatever the NRA wants, even though the things the NRA support lead directly to like a trail of death, often for innocent women and children, while Democrats at the very bare minimum understand it truly doesn't have to be this way. We can restrict weapons of war. Guns that are only meant to kill the most amount of people in a short amount of time can be banned from the street. We don't have to allow these on the street. And I think that parents worrying about their kids at school, the kids who are in danger at these schools, sensible Americans, I think they would all agree. That's why it's important to remember that these kind of common sense laws, common sense bans, are only held up by those who stand to profit from the gun lobby, and those who are brainwashed by those who stand to profit from the gun lobby, and that being MAGA Republicans just like Trump. Because all data on the matter shows if you own a gun, you're just more likely to get killed by a gun. If a gun is in a home, someone in that home is more likely to die via gun violence. Youth suicide goes way up. And the more guns there are, more people are going to die. And states and places with stricter gun laws have less gun deaths. So if we're following the truth, if we're following the data and not the NRA money, it seems like a rather common sense position to come to, that it shouldn't be easy to buy guns. ARs should not be in the jurisdiction of children, let alone any civilians. Why do you need an AR? There's no justification for it. It's a weapon meant to kill the most amount of people in the least amount of time. And I feel like it's something that as Americans, we should all be able to come to together and agree upon, especially after tragedies like this.